We're all on journeys, but are we heading to a destination, or are we running away from something? Perhaps it's a bit of both, or maybe we don't know. When I was a kid, every summer we drive down to Florida. And we drive down in this big orange station wagon. And the station wagon had this seat that flipped up in the back so you could ride backwards looking out the rear view window. But I could never stand that. Between the heat and the plastic seat and riding backwards, it really just wasn't for me. And I can't help but think that maybe that's how the Israelites felt in this week's Torah portion. This week's Torah portion is called Matot Maseh. It comes from the book of Numbers, the very end of the book, and it means tribes and journeys. And it lists all of the places that the Israelites visited or stopped as they traveled through the wilderness trying to get to the Promised Land. And if you look at this list of places where they stopped, this is not a list of happy memories. The Torah calls them Motzehem, places of leaving. That is, they would look backwards, not unlike me looking out the rear view window of the station wagon, and say, that's what we're leaving behind. The Israelites encountered thirst and hunger and scorching heat and war, hostile kings and wild animals, and they're all listed in this week's Torah portion as Motzehem, places better left behind. But maybe that's why they never made it to the Promised Land except after 40 years. Because they were always looking behind and not looking ahead to their destination. And isn't that true of our personal histories as well? We're all on journeys, but are we heading to a destination, or are we running away from something? Perhaps it's a bit of both, or maybe we don't know. We could be avoiding something in our careers, avoiding a confrontation, or running away from a difficult decision. We could be avoiding something in our personal growth, taking a risk at something, or trying something new, or learning something that maybe we're scared of. Or maybe we are avoiding taking a risk in our relationships, because love means being vulnerable and letting down our defenses. Nevertheless, the Israelites make it to the Promised Land. They are, at the end of this week's Torah portion, standing on the border, and they're ready to charge in and take their destiny into their own hands. And if they can do it, so can we. We can't control the future, but it doesn't mean that we have to be afraid of it either. We can, instead of looking backwards, look ahead and make choices that will fulfill and enrich us.